Thank you, Keith. Can you share some of when we move students into these tutored areas, they are removed for the entire period, the entire hour, and we ran into just a few obstacles. You know, we learned along the way kind of changes we needed to make and adjustments, and one was lunch, with their lunch time and their lunch schedule. Can you talk a little bit about how we dealt with that, and at the same time, what kind of things, Ms. Myers talked about some of the things that students would do during open lunch, but I know we had some other things going on. We had music sometimes, we had activities, and maybe share some of that.
Well, the open lunch started off with just a whole hour, and our students struggled at first on what to do for a whole hour. They had already adapted to a 30-minute lunch. So for that entire hour, it created a couple challenges. But what we did was we presented it to our staff to come up with ideas. We presented it to the offices, the dean's office, the counseling office, the administrative office, and then the teachers. Everyone came up with ideas on how to keep the kids busy, how to teach them what to do with their time. So the students in open lunch started off with a little bit of a struggle because that's a long time period. But by the end of the year, all of our staffs had worked together to come up with a plan that worked really well, from music in there to different games in there to we even had videos on sometimes in the great room. It worked out very well. The students in the lunch periods that were not with the open area, who were in the tutoring area, that modified during the course of the year as well. Teachers came in to help out on a regular basis, just to check up on their students. That was a slow evolution of the program, which really helped out. So altogether, those items worked together, and as a team, we worked together to find a solution and make it work for us. When we saw the program at another school, it was totally different. It was totally different. And during the course of the year, we've made minor changes to make it work for us. And at the Freshman Center, our team came up with the idea.
Thank you. I know that we do 2-week intervals. So the house team, as Ms. Myers mentioned, they get together, they discuss, they review students in their house, and they provide counselors a list of these students' names. Students technically are in there for up to 2 weeks, but the responsibility that is put on them is for them to be able to exit at any time. Can you talk a little bit about what students need to do to exit?
For a student to exit, they need to, I would say, first meet with their teacher, find out what they need to do. What are they missing? Are they not passing their tests? Why are they in there? Every student has a password, and they can go on our Skyward computer program and see their grades currently up to the minute. So every student gets a password. In addition, every parent gets their own password. So students can go on the computer, check their grades. They should be meeting with their teacher, finding why have they been placed in the level. Most of the time, students know why they're in there. So once the student takes care of what they need to take care of, whether it's missing assignments or making up enough work to get out or passing their tests, whatever it may be, then they can get a form either from the guided lunch or tutored lunch level or their counselor or even their teachers, and they would go to each teacher to have them sign off saying, yes, you're passing and you may be released from the guided or tutored lunch, and then they can go back to open lunch. So once these are all signed from every single teacher the student has, they would bring it back to the counselor, and we would go ahead and make that schedule change, and then they could have that hour of open lunch time.
Can I add something onto that? I was thinking that one of the things that made this successful was we took the responsibility off of the teacher, off the administrator, and off the counselor, and put it on the student. The student became responsible. We helped them out, but the student became responsible for their own success. They became more aware of their own success and what they needed to do. We provided them the steps and the pathway, but the students accepted that responsibility, and that's how they were moved out. And when you were mentioning that right now, I was like, wow, it really was successful because our students were able to do it on their own.
Thank you. Ms. Myers, can you tell us a key role here are the counselors, and it is very important because of schedule changes. And can you explain what the role is of the counselor?
Well, one of the roles, yes, is doing the computer work, changing the schedules from the open lunch to the guided lunch or the guided to the tutor, or back again once they have achieved success. In addition, now every 2 weeks, the teachers are giving us lists of the students who are having these difficulties. So now we know who these students who are having some difficulty are. So we know their names, we can meet with them individually, we go into the guided lunch, we go into the tutor lunch and check up on them. We'll just stop in, see who's in there, say hi, see if we can help them with anything. Some, make sure they have their passwords to go in on the computer. We print those out for them. Sometimes we even go another step and we actually print out their current grades for them. So, some students don't have computers at home or they don't have time. So we'll go and print down their schedules for them.
Thank you. As a final question, I'd like to ask both of you what you feel have been the best and the most beneficial benefits and outcomes of our intervention.
The two things that come to mind were they increased our student success. But it increased our student success by having all the parts of Morton Freshman Center working together to give the responsibility back to the students. And the students wanted to achieve this in order to get out of lunch altogether and go to an open lunch. So I think the biggest success would have been students accepting responsibility and then moving forward. All we did was provide them the place, the structure, and the additional help that they needed to succeed.
When you asked the question, I thought similar answers. The first thing that popped in my mind was responsibility. So I know a lot of times it's freshman year and we have our own building. It's a transition year for them to go to the Morton East campus. So it's not junior high. We start giving them more adult freedom, but we still help them along. So this really puts it another step forward, and that they do have much more responsibility for their own academic success. So I really like that, and I think that was a really positive change for us. In addition, I really think they have developed some maturity in using this hour because, as Keith said earlier, an hour is a long time to have non-structured time when they're used to, 30 minutes of just lunch, and then they go back to class. So an hour is a long time, and we've noticed not only, as mentioned earlier, there's activities that we have, maybe some games or movies occasionally, but we have study tables, and the students are really good. If they have work, they'll go and go to the study table. Some students go to the library every single day. Some students sit in the cafeteria and do work. So they've really matured throughout the year and developed the, academic responsibility and found their way.
Thank you, Ms. Myers and Mr. Beisman, for joining us today. As previously mentioned, this intervention was a collaborative effort on all parties at the Freshman Center. It included not only our certified staff, but our food service personnel, our security personnel, to ensure that we work together so that it would be a smooth transition. We look forward to strengthening this initiative in this upcoming school year. Thank you for joining us today, and we will have more information in a future episode.